Hello good people, welcome, and in this video I will be showing you how to create this card component here using just HTML and CSS. So let's just take a look at what this card looks like. So you hover and then there's a nice pop-up, and there is also an image at the back and some subtle shadow and also some very subtle border radius. So without further ado, let's get started. So I am going to get into my Visual Studio Code and make sure that I delete everything first. So I have deleted everything inside my index.html file and inside my style.css file. So the files that I am currently having, and you also need to create those. I have index.html, style.css, and an image. So you can download an image from the internet or use whatever image that you have. So I am going to start now by creating the markup. So this is my markup. I'm going to change the title to something like card swipe. And I'm also going to link my style sheet. And then I'm going to create the card inside here. Giving it the class of card. Inside that card, I am going to create another container. Let me call it card content. Inside that, I'm going to create an H3. Let's call it card title. The best of all times. Below that, let's create a p tag and call it, give it a class of card text, and put some lorem ipsum dummy content in there. There we have it. Below the card content, let's put an image. Let's put the image, and then we can also give it a class of card image, and the source is here in the root directory. So we are going to just say mouthwash.jpg, and the out tag, the out attribute, we're going to call it mouthwash. And we are pretty much done with the markup. So let's go back to the CSS. And first let's refresh here and see what we have. So this is what we currently have. The image is looking very, very big. Now inside here, we are going to use a font, a Google font called Rubik. So I already have it open here. So I'm going to copy it from here and paste it inside the style.css. Now I'm just making sure that I have plenty of space to work with. So I'm just going to Control B to make it bigger, to make my space bigger. And then we start with the basics. Let's target the body and give it a font family of Rubik. Select from here, copy from here, And then what's next? Let's give it line height for our fonts. Okay, let's see if it changed anything. Yes, it did. Let's give it a line height of 1.6. And then let's move on to our card. Before the card, actually, let's do some resets. So we can select everything and give it a margin of 0 and padding of 0. So the everything actually includes the body also, because the body actually comes with default margin, which is usually something around 18 pixels, if I'm not mistaken there. Now, let's target our card. Our card is going to have a maximum width, max width of 400 pixels. Right, you see our card is up to here. This is the card. But now the image is all over. So we can go to the image also. Let's say card image. And we give it a maximum width of 100%, meaning it won't grow bigger than its parent. And we want to actually center this card in the body. So there are many ways of doing that, but I'm going to go to the body and say display flex and say justify content center. This is for centering horizontally. There we have it. But to center vertically, just look what will happen. Align items. That's for centering items vertically. So let's say center. You'll see that it won't work. Right? It won't work because for this to work, it has to be inside a container that is a defined width. So we are going to come to the body here at the top, maybe somewhere here, and say min height 100 viewport height. Right, you see now it can be centered. Now to the card, we want to make it even nicer. So let's give it a border radius of 20 pixels. If we can see it, I can't see it. I'm sure it's because of the color, because it's all white. But if we give it, for example, background color of black, we'll remove that later on. We can see it's all looking nice. But as you can see, our image is sort of like behaving in its own way. So to actually prevent the image from popping out of the parent, we can come to the card here and say overflow hidden. You see it's now hidden, but we still have a space. So this is to do with the image. So we come to the image and say display block. So this is like a hack on images, but they tend to behave like this. So we say display block and then it closes. Here let's put the color red so that we can still see our text. Right, this is how it looks like. But we want our image to span up to the top. So what are we going to do? Let's give it a height, or a minimum height of 500 pixels. Let's see what will happen. You see it's now stretched, but there is a way to actually fix that. So we say object fit cover, and then it's done. And then we want this to actually cover from here until the top here. So we are going to target the container, the card content. We called it card content, I think. This one, the red one. Right, the red one, we called it, the red is actually for the whole card, but here it's covered by the image. So let's say position absolute. See what will happen. Right, it's gone somewhere. It's hidden somewhere. Or is it? No, it's not hidden. It's here. Right, but it ignored everything. Usually when you want the position to work in a way that is very predictable, you go to the parent and give it position relative, so that when you say position absolute, it will be in relationship to the parent. So we say position absolute. Now this is in relation to the parent. You see, it still respects the parent, and the parent actually says that overflow should be hidden, and it is hidden on this text as well. So let's come over and give it a background color, background of F1, F2, F3, some off-white color, and then let's give it a padding of 20 pixels, right? And then let's move it to the bottom. So we say bottom 0, right? So now we say the bottom, we are almost there. And what can we do next? Let's go and target the title, the card title, and give it the font size of 20 pixels, and also font weight of 700, and then margin bottom of 20 pixels again, right? So that is how it looks now. Let's go now, let's push the whole thing, this whole thing, to the bottom. So we go to card and say transform, translate y, and give it like 70%. Oh, I'm actually transforming the wrong thing. I need to transform the card content. We come here and say transform, translate y. You see, it's in position now. Now we want to make it such that when we hover, this card actually pops up. So we come to the card, we target our card, and then say card content. Let me correct this one. Yeah, card content, and we want this transform and translate y, I mean, to be actually 0. That is, it comes back where it was, right? So, but we want this to happen when we hover over the card. So if you hover over the card, this is what is happening. But as you can see, we don't want it to jump like that. So we come to the card content, and say transform, and say transition, I mean, transition, and we want the transform to transition smoothly within 0.3 seconds, within 0.3 seconds. As you can see, now it's looking great. So this was all, I think. So this was everything, and if you guys like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.